Hello, Calvary members. We're back again, and we have two guests with us who are pretty important to Calvary. When you see these names, I'm going to tell you they're two of our teachers at Orange City Christian who help us keep our promises at baptism to teach our children all day and as often as possible who our God is and how He saved us. So, who are you guys, and what do you teach?
My name is Randy Hilbelink, and I teach middle school at Orange City Christian School, social studies, Bible, and this year computer.
And I'm Carlin Brunst, and I teach 7th and 8th grade language arts at Orange City Christian.
And all you kids know Mr. Hilbelink and Mrs. Brunst, so you don't need any introduction. But for others, I thought it was important, and I'm just going to ask these two a question. So the question is, Mr. Hilbelink and Mrs. Brunst, how has the present situation with online learning sort of made you more aware or more mindful of the relationship between homes and school in our promise to raise these kids?
I think for me, it has made me a lot more appreciative of what parents are doing on their end. On my end, I'm sending out assignments on Google Classroom. On my end, I'm having my kids read books and things. But on the parents' end, they have to be a lot more active right now. And I guess that's made me a lot more appreciative of the effort that they need to make, and has to make me more aware, too, of the new pressures that they've got on them, because some of them don't just have 1 or 2 kids, they have 4 or 5. And so the time that is involved in that can just be a tremendous burden for them. So I need to be more appreciative of the parents, and I think that cemented our relationship together, because I've kind of felt a little bit like a parent, because I'm sending things out hoping things are getting done, but I'm not sure whether they are or not. I just got to make sure I hold them accountable.
And I think I'm on both ends, because I have 2 children of my own that I'm trying to help through with their schoolwork. So that has made me very aware of maybe some of the challenges that are faced at home. And so that has very much impacted the expectations that I have for my own students. But yeah, finding that balance as both a teacher and a parent has been hard. And so I can kind of relate to those parents that are out there working, still doing their full-time jobs, or trying to work from home and also help their kids with school. So it's definitely a lot of extra stress to consider.
And you kind of brought me into my next question, a more brief one. Give me a couple of for instances about what's been the most pleasant experience during these days and what's been most challenging.
One of the most pleasant things is I can still have devotions with my kids. I do that online over video. And I do still have my kids give me responses back. We use something called Google Jamboard. For example, the question this morning was, what was your favorite April Fool prank that you have pranked your family on, or what will you do? And I've got some pretty creative 6th graders, so look out, parents. There might be some pranks coming yet today. So that's been kind of cool. And we've also used Google Hangout to kind of hang out with each other too and get that social aspect, because God has definitely created that in us too, the need to be social. And I want to make sure we respect that as God's community.
One of the things that I have enjoyed is as a writing teacher, I had the 8th graders working on their faith statements last week. And so this week I got to sit down and read those. And usually I'm in the room and helping them and guiding them. But now this time it was the parents who had to do that a little bit more. And you could see a little bit of that reflected, or maybe the students just did it completely on their own. But it was such a blessing to read those. And so I was very thankful for that chance. It was a good reminder that even in the midst of everything that's going on, just the blessing that my students are. I think the hardest thing is, if you would ask me, why do you love teaching, or why do you do your job? And it's because I love the students. And they're just, people ask me constantly, oh, how do you put up with middle schoolers? And I think they're some of the coolest people on the face of the earth.
Listen to that, middle schooler.
But so that has maybe been a challenge of I do my job because I love my students, but now I can't be with them. So that makes it hard, but that has reminded me too that I first need to love God. And if I love Him first, then that love for my students becomes even greater. And so this has been an opportunity for me to put that into practice a little more.
Wonderful. Well, just a verse for all of you and an encouragement to our teachers. From Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commands I give you today are to be upon your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates. So wherever we are, teachers at home, kids at home, or myself here trying to make a connection, let's remember that we are remembering God's commands, and we are walking and talking and living out our love for Him and for each other. Maybe this is just one way. And one more note. Happy birthday to Allie Haight, and anniversary to Clarence and Laura Postma. Blessings, Calvary. Good to be with you again.